Hi, welcome to this introductory talk on internal family systems. Now let's start with understanding the concept. Internal family systems is a model that evolved pretty recently when it comes to the history of psychotherapy, and it was evolved by a gentleman called Richard Schwartz, who was working in the area of psychotherapy, specifically with trauma patients. In the context of his work, he realized that when we talk of dealing with trauma, dealing with problems, dealing with relationships in our lives, very often we come across multiple parts of ourselves that respond to that situation or that person or that trauma. And it is through these insights that the whole idea of internal family systems, or IFS, evolved. Let's understand what we mean by these internal families. Dr. Schwartz proposed that while each of us appear to be one person and therefore one personality, we are in fact a composition of various aspects of our persona and to some degree multiple personalities. Now, does it mean we have a disorder? No, we do not. It's very natural to have various parts of us. And sometimes these parts may not necessarily be integrated with each other, which means that the interests of one part of ourselves may vary from the interest of another part of ourselves. So Dr. Schwartz proposed that each of us had three primary types of parts which constitute our inner family, and these three parts, if this were to be our persona, there are three parts to us. One part is that of the manager. Okay. The manager is that part of us that tries to respond to situations around us in a manner that is perceived to be socially and morally correct. Right? So this is often the part of us that we tend to put forward in our interactions in day-to-day life, and this is perhaps the part of us that we are more aware of and most conscious of in our regular interactions. There is yet another part of us which sometimes is in exile. Now, these are parts of us, our internal family, that are often exiled, in the sense they are suppressed, they are subdued, perhaps because they're not very pleasant. So for example, if I've been through, let's say, a traumatic incident as a child, so maybe I've lost somebody very close to me, and in that context of that loss, because I was very small, the loss of that person made me feel extremely unhappy, extremely lost, and therefore every time I come across a situation of loss, which could be in the form of death, it could be in the form of somebody moving to a new city, it could be in the form of, let's say, my phone getting stolen, my response to that loss is exactly the same as the response that happened when I was a little child. So I might end up wailing, I might end up crying uncontrollably, I might end up completely withdrawing into a shell and locking myself up in a room. Over a period of time, as we realize that this particular response is uncontrollable and is undesirable and socially unpleasant, we somehow learn to exile this part of us, which means we try and push it away, we try and lock it up, not show it as much as possible. But of course, because it's a part of us, it does tend to come up on and off in our interactions. And there's yet another part of us, which is the firefighter. Now, this firefighter is that part of us which tries really hard to keep this part in exile. So it tries and makes sure that anytime this exiled part tries to come up, the firefighter brings up an optimistic front or a brave front and tries not to bring up this part. Now, the model of internal family system says that over and above all these parts, there is ourself that is compassionate, has a lot of wisdom, has a lot of experience, and knows how to integrate all of these parts. So the purpose of this introduction for you is to understand and try and have a dialogue with each of these parts. It could be a situation as simple as a friend asking you out to a movie the next time around, think about which part of you is trying to respond to it. There may be a part of you that says, yes, I really want to go ahead and watch this movie with you. There may be yet another part that says, no, I think I'd rather just sit at home and watch a movie. Look at which of those parts responds and make an attempt to listen to each of those parts and integrate their message so that none of those parts feel exiled, none of those parts feel that they're not part of your internal family. Thank you.